All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Um, it is January 10th at 7:32 to be exact, and we are ready to learn some Python. We are back doing the same old, same old. Um, Grind continues on. Um, how you guys doing today? That's some people roll in here. Hello, welcome in to Steel. Welcome, Christy. Welcome in. How you guys doing? Welcome, you guys. All right, it's awesome to have you here. How's your Friday been? Weekend time. I much needed weekend. I cannot wait to sleep in a little tomorrow. Oh, I need a little bit of additional sleep desperately here. Why am I picking up? Um, why am I picking up volume on my desktop? I'm gonna turn that down just so okay. We don't have any interference going on. Schweppes, welcome. How's it going? It's awesome to hear from you. How are you doing? What's new with you? How's the project going? Yeah, so yesterday we actually, got the expense class started to get implemented here, and we were starting to, we're starting to incorporate it into our script here. And I think today we're going to kind of organize some of our functions here into their own files per menu. And yeah, it'll be a little bit better. Adele, welcome in. How's it going, you guys? It's awesome to hear from you. What's new with you guys today? Happy Friday to everybody. If you're here with me, be sure to maybe throw the video a like if you're enjoying your time here. We're going to be coding some Python. It just helps to keep the channel going and supported. And we've been getting a lot of support lately, which is just so awesome. You guys have been real great. And it's just overwhelming that you guys are spending some time with me, and I really, really appreciate it. And you're learning Python here, and if you're practicing your own work or just having it stuff in the background, we're just together as a community. We're motivating people to just do some work here and to learn on their own here. So it's awesome you guys are here. I slept for like 6 hours, so now I can't sleep. I'll watch the stream and start working on a Flutter app. Yeah, you mentioned that earlier in the Discord. You have to mention, tell me what Flutter is about. I've never heard of it before, so you'll have to give me a rundown. If you every time I hear the word rundown, I think of that episode of The Office where um, the new boss, what's his name? Gina, what's the boss's name after Michael? No, after Jan for a little bit. Oh, what's his name? I forgot. I'm not a true fan. Charles? His first name is Charles. His last name is. Oh, dang it. Okay, whatever. But when he asked Jim for the rundown, Jim's like, what's the rundown? Yeah, I'll get you that rundown, sure. And he's asking everybody what a rundown is. That's very true. You'll come to find out when you get a job in the corporate world, you'll find that the rundown is like a it's kind of like a gag. It's a very true adult joke, I guess. It's kind of sad that I think that's funny nowadays, but um anyways, weird tangent. Yes, Adele, almost 850 subs. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that just nuts? Like a couple weeks ago before Christmas we were at like 600, and then like 2 weeks before that we were at like 200, or like so it's just insane. I can't believe it. We've been on this constant like little stair step up, and it's been a great ride. I've just been riding here and trying to enjoy with you guys. Wing on, welcome in. How's it going? What's new with you? How's it going? Schweppes, how are you so consistent? Any tips? Well, in general, I just think that the stream definitely helps me. I've made a lot of, colleagues here, and, acquaintances and networks here with you guys. We have a lot of people that come in reoccurringly. And so it's really been fun, and I enjoy, hanging out with you guys and working alongside you. So that is a main, really one of the probably 70% of the the what is it, motivation to keep me coming, right, is you guys alone, but then also just the desire to want to better myself. I talk about this quite a bit. I'm not super big into like going to the gym. I need to be, or into physical fitness. But I am really big into mental fitness in a way. I try to constantly keep myself stimulated with some sort of new learning, whether it be an instrument or continuing school education topics, and through computer science. I just think it's good to be educated, and to keep yourself fresh, because you can start to fade really quickly after the normal. Oh, I graduated college. I'm done now. Never again will I read a book or touch a book, and then you just slowly start to kind of have a narrow mindset about things, and it's just good to be educated, and so also that as well. Sorry, but a little ramble there. Adele says it's a so the he says that the what was this? He said the Flutter app. Okay, it's a Google service and it has a lot of documentation. You can highlight a keyword in VS Code, and a link to a video can show up explaining how it works, and makes it easy to cross platform. It's a Google service and has a lot of documentation. You can highlight a keyword. Apps, especially if used with Firebase, which is Google database, and it's good for authentication and storage. Ah, interesting. Um, the Django, I've actually never, gone down that route yet. In the Python crash course, I think it gives you a simple project to build in the end of it at part two. You can find this in my Discord, linked below, or you can also just look online for a copy of the PDF. But I provide one in my Discord along with my notes and everything, completely free. But I believe one of the project here is um, the Django Bootstrap platform. Yeah, the Django. So there is a on like page 133, the third project gives you a step-by-step kind of installation of Django and how to get use it. Now I've never gone down that route. I started making my own projects and got distracted with other resources we've been learning, like DSA and Python, and CS50X and stuff. But this is a great resource. Yeah, I finished the Python Crash Course book and was working on the Django project. How I fail, it's just a step by step more than teaching you how to use it. I'm in a spot now where I need to. Ah, okay, got you. Well, one fit. I don't know if there's really like a universal. There might be some resources that will guide you through it, making a full project, but I believe that there's an element of almost creativity that needs to come. Now, I'm not saying that you're not being creative at all. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that um, it's kind of like when you're supposed to when you're in your school and it says make a table, or you have to make a table. Well, you don't really know where to start. You got to kind of figure out what to draw, or from scratch. So at the end of the day, there's going to be no one step by step guide for everything. You're going to have to you know do things your own way, maybe. And this isn't maybe a way that other people set up projects, but it's been working for me, and so I was like, it's no, not broken, so I'm not going to really fix it right now, and I'll add features and change features later on. So it's interesting that the computer science degree often at some majors is a uh, oh, hold on. You had a project where you worked on an inventory space, right? Yeah, I did. It was pretty basic. It was my CS50P final project, and unfortunately, I just have a video of that right now. I don't have an actual copy of the script because it's provided in that CS50P or CS50 cloud space or whatever. Um, and so I'm working on getting. I keep saying it, but I need to just do it. Probably I'm gonna do it this weekend. I really need to. I've just been busy with the stream and with work and everything. Get the what was it? The CS50 thread for Python updated with my weeks and stuff. It's just a kind of a lot of work. My connection keeps kind of going in and out here, so I apologize, you guys, if you are experiencing some lost frames on your end. Let me know. How's the connection? When I say start to finish, I feel like there's must-haves and apps and authentication. I know how to build the app in my creativity, but I didn't want to build an app and deploy it and then realize the miscomponents of it. Well, I mean, if you deploy something and you realize you missed something, then it's just something that you learn for next time. So, I wouldn't don't put too much thought into it. And I'm just a novice out here. I'm not trying. I'm not one to be teaching. I'm not teaching anything. I don't. I often tell you guys this is peer to peer. We're just kind of colleagues working together alongside each other as if we were back in school. Booking a library room and stuff, and just chatting. So, um, and if you happen to work alongside me and learn too, then that's great. But I um, I just wouldn't be afraid to take chances with stuff like that because you'll just end up learning from them, and you'll just know that for next time, right? Mohit, welcome in. Tim, welcome. Christy said, "How did you know what functions you needed?" That's where I got. That's where I kind of am flashing back to the creativity part. Um, I kind of just wrote them myself. I had an idea for the menu styling, and I was like, I'm just gonna. I really just started out with like, um, let me just kind of do this. So, for those like wondering how I got started with my very first CS50P project, this is literally what I did. I remember it because it was kind of like a breakthrough moment. I'm not saying it was any sort of breakthrough of reinventing any wheel here, but it was breakthrough for me in that, in fact, that I kind of started to make things started to click. Like I was like, oh, like I can actually start to do things. I was no longer just following what David Malin was saying in those videos. I was actually doing things on my own. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I can actually kind of express myself through this interface. So what I did was just to kind of I had a main I just had a function main, right? And then all I did was I just said, okay, I want to get some sort of input. So I usually say like user input, and then I'll get some I used the input function, right? I started small. I just used the basic integrated function, and I said, please select an option, right? And then I was like, okay, well, if I want the user to select an option and it's below all of these other ones, well, then I'll say, I kind of formatted it like this. I said, okay, well, we'll say add a new line here, like so. I just visually I just wrote it how I would see it in the terminal. So I made, okay, new line, and then I said, um, option one, right? This is still a quote, right? And then I said, what would option one be? Add item, right? And then that was that. And then I said, option two, right? Inside quotes. And I said, remove item, right? Just like that. And then and then I said option three. This is really basic, but this is just how I started, literally. Option three. Um, this will be exit, right? Just simple. Or we'll probably have like a view, items, and then we'll have an exit, right? With option four. So this is literally as basic as it is. This is how I wrote it. Now this isn't perfect, right? I need to add some syntax here. So This has a thing here. It's just like this. So then I said, okay, after each of these, I need a backslash n, and I went like this. I just printed. I just called main function here, and I just started like this. Added feature by feature. Okay, this is it. Okay, well, I need to put this down there. So what am I missing here? Oh, well, I need a backslash n because that moves that line down. I printed, and I got this here. And okay, interesting. Now, what happens if I do, okay, now I need one more thing here. I need this here, and then boom, I printed, and so on and so forth. And I just kind of, as kind of annoying and as tedious as that may sound, it just showed me the before and the after of all these different effects I was doing on a small scale of just manually manipulating strings, and it just really helped to make things click. Now I now have a function where I have create menu where I just add in the prompt and then a list of all the options, and it does all this for me. So I've leveled up these, but this is where I started back this summer, less than 6 months ago, like literally in September, August time. August to be more specific. I was writing this just like this, these old functions, and now I have a function that looks like this that we wrote, live on, which is really cool. Like in my opinion, it's like we create a menu. Now it could be better in some people's terms, but we create a menu and we loop, and we have it completely modular for the inputs, and it's really neat. Um, so then I printed this function. Okay, now we got this. I'm missing a space here, so I make that edit, and boom, now we got this. Okay, so now what do I want to do? Well, if the user input is any of these options, well, I need to do something else. So I say, okay, if user input equals quote 1. Right now I have to say quote here because user input, the input function returns a string. So 1 would technically be a string. So that's what I started. I said if, right, user input equals quote 2, so on and so forth, all the way down. And then I said, well, how do I get this to continually ask if the user, is, saying the wrong things? Well, it's like, okay, well, I can do this like while true. Just I can put this within a loop, and go okay, boom, and then do whatever. Just for a simple example. Now I know this isn't perfectly written, but it's just to show that this is the starting point for all of this. Like all of this was originally originated from just the simple learning I did for 2 hours where I sat there. So um, it's um, sorry, I know that was a ramble, but I thought it would be interesting to show like where it kind of all clicked for me as I sat down. I remember it very specifically. I didn't have anything to work on after work. I went to the cafeteria area and I sat down, and I it was later in the day, like around 4:30, and there was traffic, so I was like, I'll wait it out for the traffic and I'll do some studying before I made the channel or anything, and I started to write this, and I was like, okay, and I just really forced myself to learn before and after, and then I just got familiar with what things and added little bit by little, and day by day I added 10 lines this day, 10 lines this day, 10 lines this, and after a month I had a 500 line working interface that had some sort of functionality. So it was a cumulative effort of time and effort. So um, yeah, so sorry about that ramble. Let's get caught up on the chat here. How did you? Hey Tim, welcome in. How's it going? How did you do authentication for your app? I don't have any authentication. I don't have any. I haven't really gotten down that route yet. I've only been doing this for about 6, 7 months, so like I said, I have a fair. I can kind of know Python a little bit, decently to be able to make my way around the language and stuff. But I do need to get into these more computer science topics, and that's kind of why we're getting into CS50X and some of these other, um, you know, these other program or books and things like that in math. We're going to be going into Calc 1 again. I've taken Calc 1, but I need a refresher. Going into Calc 1, Calc 2, 3, linear algebra. All this, all the resources will be in the Discord. So I do need to get these concepts, more under my belt too. So hopefully we can do that together, right? um, Don't sell yourself short, Mr. Tim. The sky's the limit. You can. Thank you so much, Tim. You're so kind. Yeah, that would be something, right? Dream. You dream big, Tim. I appreciate that. You're awesome. Thank you. Are all your files on GitHub? For the most part, the ones that I don't have on GitHub, I think are just the CS50 ones. Besides, I think those are just privated via the CS50 interface that they have. But I'm starting to like unravel my stuff onto my Discord because I do think it's vital that people can learn from already completed examples. I do think that is valid, but you do need to be responsible with it, and not just take it for your own because that's just blatant copying. But use it to gain inspiration and learn and read how things are working and maybe copy a little section and see what it does, or copy a single function and see what it does, and use and modify it that way. I do think that that is a very optimal way of studying and learning as well. So that's why I do want to provide that. So I'm going to work on that this weekend. I need to do better at that. Naman Rowett says, "Is the GUI done?" No, unfortunately. We started working on integrating the expense class here and adding some more features to our current 1.0 version. The GUI was more of a test, preliminary test to see, um, where, uh, what what we'd be getting into down the road, and um, we started to get just familiar with it. Now we'll continue it for sure, but it takes me to get in a specific mood to want to do some front end work because, to be honest, it just doesn't seem that interesting to me designing like these like text boxes and stuff. Now, if you do it, I really applaud you. It's great and stuff. I have a background in chemistry and science, so I really like numbers and math and working with that kind of stuff. So it's just more of maybe that back end stuff is more of my forte, it seems like. But definitely need to keep going with that because it's a good skill to have. So we will, I promise. Yeah, Christy, did that help at all? Hopefully that ramble was of some value. Appreciate you for coming in. Tim, Tim is too kind. Tim, you're selling yourself short, Tim. You can't do that either. You should print out your program and hang it on the wall. Yeah, we should hang it. I'm gonna try to put my degree maybe here, and then also maybe we'll put our first program here as well. I don't know, just no, you definitely can be. You just got to find what a little bit of an avenue that works for you. I think don't try to express what I mean. Creativity is hard because it's pretty subjective and it can be difficult. But I think that you're just creative in your own ways, and so don't you definitely can. Uh, you have creativity within. It's difficult. I don't know what to say much. Sorry. I get stumbled up. Okay, let's start coding here. Let's get into this. It's been 20 minutes of just intro here, so people are probably like, "Oh, let's get going here, man. Come on." So thank you guys for your patience. I just was answering some questions and talking with you. I'm getting raspy here. Okay. So yesterday we kind of refactored things. We added in an expenses menu with option 3 here. The expenses has the add expense option. So we have the expenses menu here, which has the add expense option, the find expense, find edit expense, the view expenses, and the main menu, right? So we need to we have to save the expenses as well. Now we're gonna have to save them in a CSV, or should we dabble with JSON? Would it be a good time at this point, rather than continuing on with another instance of CSV, try to take a stab at JSON and work and see if we like that compared to CSV. What do you guys think? Um, Yeah, I just needed a small layout. Don't know where to start. Who's gonna frame his Scratch program? Yeah, that's funny. I definitely think I'm taking too much time at one time learning. Think I'm taking too much in at one time learning. I don't think my brain has fully processed everything I learned. I pop into this live to find structure. Yeah, that's definitely my approach. I don't think that there's any rush to this. I think that there's a lot of like societal pressure and with instant gratification and stuff and to try to get through things really quickly. And I really want to like enjoy this process of learning and taking this all in, right? So I really don't care if it takes me a whole stream to get through just a couple of pages on the in a book or something or through a function or a practice problem, because at the end of the day what really matters is if I learned it, and it's a byproduct if someone else in the stream learned it, learned something from that, then that is great as well. And if people enjoy watching that process of me doing this, then that's just cherry on top, and which seems like there's quite a few people that do, which is really awesome. So thank you guys for that. When you get into the GUI again, maybe have a look at Dear Pi GUI. It's a really cool intermediate mode. GUIs are awesome in my opinion. Oh, immediate mode GUIs are awesome in my opinion. Dear Pi GUI. What is that? How does it differ from Tkinter? Tkinter just seemed really kind of like repetitive. Like I was constantly like, I don't know. It just seemed like kind of over the top. I used Dear I'm GUI, which is a legendary C++ version. Okay. Well, definitely you'll be a good help then if we get into that, John. Okay, so we have the add expense function here. So we wrote the add expense here, which takes an expense description, which is name, a cost for an amount, um, a date, right? And we just were able, and then we refactored these functions we used to get information for actually building an item, right? For setting a name of an item, for setting a cost of an item. We refactored them and added these little indicator flags to determine whether we can switch and just have the string that describes for the prompt as like, okay, rather than getting a name for an item, now we're going to get an expense description for, right? It just inserts these dynamically for just getting a general information from the user. So rather than just being super repetitive, we can just use one function, which is really cool that we wrote yesterday. So let's go ahead and let's see here. I kind of want to also, what do you guys think about if we turn off the light over the head? It kind of makes a cool little aroma in here, and I think it's kind of fun. So let me know what you guys think about the dim light, or I can keep it on and just turn it lower too. Like that's lower. That's as low as it'll go. I like that too. Just keep the Friday night movie light. I like it. Looks good. Awesome. Cody Mountain, man. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, congrats on that big video. I watched it the other day. I threw it a like and I subbed to you. It was really awesome. I enjoyed that video. Okay, so now so what did we write last time? We have the description, we get the category. If the category is not in expense categories, we add it to the expense category, um, class instance in the expense class. Right, so this has the categories and the methods here. If expense method not in, add it here. So then I want to say expense set name. This title case is everything. Title case. So this will always be title case no matter what. So even if they repeat, but if they have spelling mistakes, so we might want to count for that somehow. In the expense method, this will also get a title case, right? Value returned, and so that'll get put in the set as well. Okay, that's fine. So then, thank you so much. Yeah, Cody Madam, that was a great vid. I appreciate it. I watched it the other day while with my dog. We enjoyed it. The Christmas lights, yeah, the Christmas lights are still up all year round, year round. With immediate mode GUIs, your code gets called slash rendered each frame, so you see immediate feedback with your data. Oh, interesting. So you can see where the cursor is, like at every single frame, and then can you like generate reports about like how often the user spending time at certain locations, so you can see what features they like most or something. That's interesting. All I have right now is the inventory management system output, and I'm stuck. What are you stuck on, Christy? Share here, and we will try to help if we can. Okay, so we got the expense. So now, um, um, so in our expense class, we have up to category and method now. So now we need to add a note. Now, note can be optional. Like this can be like a description, like a string, or like a long string to determine or just describe even further the um, expense moaning face. Yeah, that would not be the right variable. um, expense note would be so we'll get also a set name function here, but I don't want to actually set name, so I just want to do input because really the note can be anything they want, and so what's the difference of the set name? The set name just gets input and returns that in title case with a given prompt. But I don't want to title case everything with this guy, so I'm just going to use the input function. I'm going to give it a prompt of expense note optional, right? So this will just make it so it's optional, and then they will provide that there. Cool. So we need to now generate, after we have a description and an amount, we can actually generate this item or this expense, right? So we have an amount and a date actually, sorry. So after, so maybe we should call then, I think, if the date and the amount are most optimal, we should call the date and the amount first. So let's say, let's load the expense date first. Um, let's get that from the user. I think that's fine. Like first off, what date was the expense charged? That's a good starting place. Okay, then what was the let's say the amount, right? Let's do the amount next. And then a description of that amount, right? So these are the most vital information, the date and the amount that you need. But after we do this, we can call this um, new expense is equal to the expense class, right? And then we're going to create an expense class with a date equal to the expense date, and then the amount equal to the expense amount, right? So that'll generate the expense. Am I tripping or is that's right? That's how we generate a class item. You get a quick refresher. Some stuff, I can't remember everything sometimes, so gotta look back at some of my older functions and make sure that's how we um, call an item. heck? Where are we? Run, edit item, add item here. Item with, yep, okay, cool. With the descriptors and then that. Nice. With the seed we learned, I found myself also kind of having a little bit of trouble getting back into the flow. Not like a lot of trouble, but just a little trouble being like, oh, I was adding, sometimes I was throwing a semicolon or doing like that, right? Sometimes, so it was funny. I was catching myself after those few hours of C practice we did with the week one that we completed. If you're wanting to watch that, we did a week one CS50X. Um, yes, no, 2 days ago we completed that. Those last couple of problems. And so I'm going to be uploading the last condensed version of the recorded of the stream. So I do the stream watching of the lectures live and doing my notes live and interacting with chat, and then I record them and I cut them up and chop out the chat reads and stuff just to make it for the actual information and note taking and the breaks and stuff, and then I upload those to the channel. So I'll be uploading the second part of the week one lecture to the channel tonight after the stream. And so also I'll be posting the kind of recap of the with all my information, my notes, my just a general recap, and then also my the files and everything for my week one in my Discord link below in the CS50X thread. Yeah, so with the Discord link below is all my study resources and other people's as well that they have also provided. And I'm still adding a lot to the Discord. I need to be better and do more. Okay. Also looking for mods in the Discord. So if you're interested and know a lot about Discord and maybe want to be a mod, we've had a lot of suggestions to have mods added, and I think it's kind of time as well. We need to have more features, and I'm just not fast enough. I have a 9 to 5 job as a chemist, for those that don't know. So I've been teaching myself after it, and it's been fun though. I enjoy it. I enjoy being busy and doing stuff. Okay, let's continue on here. We're getting distracted. So where were we? We were in the add expense. We got an expense note. And then yeah, so if you're wanting to be a mod, if you're interested in being a mod, shoot me either a message on like YouTube or on in Discord itself, and I'll try to I'll get back to you on there. We can talk about it on in the Discord if if you're interested in that. Oh, sorry, we have some chats here. Sorry guys. Okay, I forgot some. Hey Brian, welcome in. Just got done watching the UT OSU game. So depressing. Oh, who won that one? I didn't catch that score. What was the score of that one, Brian? Thanks for jumping in. It's awesome to hear from you. What you been working on lately? I know what functions I need. Rip Texas. So I'm guessing Texas lost to OSU. Give me a Super Bowl pay. I'm not the one. I don't really watch the NFL or really that sports for that much. I I don't really. I need to get better at watching sports, I guess. Add item, remove item, view quantity function. Yeah, that's a great place. Just think of like, okay, if I wanted to do something with these items, if I wanted to see them, if I wanted to manipulate them, if I wanted to just pull one up, if I wanted to just pull a bunch up, like just think of all these different things and try to add it, right? Little by little. It'll help a ton. Yeah, Christy, feel free to message me in the Discord and we can, that'll, for the Discord mod stuff. I definitely need some help with the roles and everything. Okay, so we have an expense note that is optional now. So we can, so we're generating the expense, right? We generated the expense here. Generate expense. And then we go to set these, right? So we'll say expense dot description, new expense dot this is category cat, if right, new expense cat, whoops, it's not saving me any time now. Oh, I keep doing it. There's new expense dot cat, not in add expense dot cat. Right. This is the method, new expense dot method, if new expense dot method not in that, then add. Right, like so. And then expense note, this will be new expense dot note is such. And so that'll just directly assign those like that. My credit card is out. I can't. I promise you. I am the team I rooted for growing up was the Cowboys, and they're not even playing anymore. I don't think so. I'm not the one to ask. I'm sorry, my friend. Appreciate you for coming in. Okay, so we got the note now, and so we generated the expense. We generated the expense, and now what are we going to do with that? What do we need to do with the expense? We would obviously, we've added the expense, we're clear with that. We can maybe visualize the expense for a second, or just move on, like it's been added to the system. So the only thing though is we need an expense, a way to actually pull this expense with a unique value, right? And we're gonna have to do that with a number, right? It's gonna have to get another generated number. So in our generate item number function, we return the length of all the items.keys for set item number. So, sorry guys, yawning. Let's keep it moving. Keep it moving. So we need to generate an expense number as well. So maybe I'll have that take place within the class. Self dot number, which is going to be a int. It's equal to generate. No, I'm just going to set it to none. Right. Okay, so we set it to none. Now we can actually override this with, we'll just say new expense dot number is equal to and generate a set expense number function, right? So we'll come down here and for set size, set quantity, set name, set item number, we'll say right here def set expense number. I'll just return the length of the expense are all expenses dot keys +1. Right, and so at the top here we'll create a all expenses dictionary, and then I thought we had a okay, yeah, so what this will do is there's no keys in the expenses dictionary, so it's 0 right now. So the next available item number is 1 because it's doing the length +1, so it's returning that value, which is the generation basically. So in the expense here, we're getting set expense number, which will return the number in the key. So the only thing though is we need to set in the generation of the item, right? We're generating right here. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll go all items underscore or all items no, not all items, all expenses keys, all expenses, what was my add item number is equal to new item, which is the key. Yeah, click to index into of a dictionary is to access its key, basically, yeah. So we set the new expense dot number. Would it be unwise to use this again? This is just a variable, an attribute associated with this, class object. So technically it is a variable in itself, right? So I wouldn't need to re-declare it and then call it, for like safety within this. So I think that that's okay just by doing this. I mean, we could even go like this one step further. Like that. If you want to get real crazy, we're getting real crazy now. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. If you guys are new here, my name is Michael. I'm 25 years old. I've been teaching myself to code in Python and various other resources, but mainly Python for the past 6-7 months. I've been really passionate about this because I have a background in science, physical science. I have a degree in human biology, a minor in chemistry. I graduated back in 2021, and I work at a biotech company as a formulation chemist. So I have a 9-to-5 job, and I've been teaching myself, after it pretty consistently here every day. So thanks so much for joining me and supporting. And if you're what are you guys working on if you are here joining me tonight, let me know what you guys are working on currently. I am very interested to know about all aspects of. So if you guys are just studying along with me, just follow along. That's great too. I really appreciate that as well. But if you're also doing something on the side, what are you working on? Let me know. Okay. Real crazy, John. Real crazy. Okay. So we are setting the all expenses key value. So now we can, use this as kind of like a hash. From my understanding, I haven't got to that in DSA and Python yet, right? In our reading, we're on chapter 8 trees. We're not yet to hash tables yet, but we were suggested to use the key of a dictionary as our search, so it can be in constant time at worst case. So that is what we're doing there. So what else? What else? What else? What else? Now, if they want to duplicate this expense, why would they want to do that? I don't really think that there's like an option or a setting where you would like repeat the same expense twice. And so we'll just, and it's really like kind of an odd situation if you would. So we'll just make them have to re-enter the information and generate a new item number. We could do the option to generate multiple items like we did in the expenses in the items, but I just don't. I think it's kind of a niche scenario when a user would want to do that. So I don't think we're gonna go down that route. We'll just leave it here. Okay, so now we've generated the item. Okay. Um, I think we should use JSON. Try to use JSON for the expense housing. So expense.json. Okay, so can you please, any of you guys know JSON and Python? Give me some help here. I will definitely need it. Can you please give me you please ease me into JSON and Python and how I would go about learning to use it and use it with saving info like object attributes in a JSON file, and when a program closes, and reading those elements and loading them when a program opens. Sure, let's break down this step by step in the simple phrases and concepts. JSON, JavaScript object or notation, is a lightweight format for storing and sharing data, often in key value pairs, similar to Python dictionaries. Learning with JSON and Python, understanding basics. JSON data looks like Python dictionaries, but uses strings for keys and values. Built-in support. Python has a JSON module to handle JSON operations, read, write, convert. Handling object attributes in JSON. Convert objects to dictionary. Use your method like .toDict in your class to represent the object attributes as a dictionary. Serialize to JSON. Use JSON.dump to save that dictionary to a JSON file. Reading and loading. Okay. Let's give this a go. Let me bring this over here. To start with import JSON, it's like working with Dix. I'm a JSON expert. It's quite intuitive. Awesome, Tim. We'll need your help here. We'll put you to the test here, Tim. Okay, so let's go up to our thing. Let's go. We'll import JSON, right? So what we're gonna do is first off, we have the generation of an item, right? So when we generate the item, we have that and it housed in a variable now called new expense, we generate an object expense. It's housed in the new expense variable. We need to take its attributes and save them into a JSON object and then write that object to the JSON file. Okay. So let's bring this guy back. We're gonna need him. Oh, let's go. Come on. Come back. Come over. Get rid of you. Go chat zipped. Give me JSON basics. Okay, so we import converting JSON Python to JSON. Use JSON dumps to convert a Python object, dict, or list to a JSON string. Oh, so you can just dump the whole object. Convert JSON to Python. JSON loads to convert the JSON string to a Python object. Oh, okay. Interesting. So if we go all expenses JSON is equal to JSON.dumps the all expenses, no, whoops, sorry. The new expense JSON is equal to JSON dumps the new expense. So this converts the new expense to a JSON. Right? A JSON string. Use the loads to convert the string back into an object. With open the file.json write as file JSON dump Okay, so we can literally dump the entire dictionary itself, right? So we don't even need to technically write the individual expense to a JSON. We would want to just write the entire dictionary itself and then load that when we run the program, right? Hey, Override Tips, welcome in. I appreciate you joining. It's awesome to hear from you. How you doing? Hope out there as well. What are you working on? What's going on? So, let's say I have a dict with that houses a object. That has objects. Instead of dumping each object, should or could I just dump the entire dict once? Yes, you can and should dump the entire dictionary at once if it houses multiple objects, as long as all the objects in JSON is serializable. Python JSON.dumps and JSON JSON.dump and JSON.dumps can handle nested structures, including dictionaries containing other objects. Why dump the entire dictionary? It's more efficient to serialize the entire dictionary. Yeah, you need a serialized object, right? Okay. Serialization. So, what is this concept of serialization? Now, we've given, right? Is the serialization just the key of the dictionary object in Python or whatever? So, if we have the key in this case is the expense number, right? It has a serialization number, so which makes it unique in this case. And so it can be ordered in that way, right? Okay, so let's see here. So rather, now we've just loaded into the expense menu or into the all expenses dictionary. So what we can do is when you open this function, hmm, I'm going to house an all expenses JSON equals um, none here, or hold on, right at the beginning will just be hmm, convert the all expenses into the JSON a global variable initially, right? So we'll just at the beginning of the program, this just immediately happens, right? Behind the scenes. No, it's not in main technically, so will this happen? I'm not exactly sure. We might need to move it inside of main for it to get, but I mean these get utilized as well. Um, with open the file path as F. Yes, thank you. So yes, John, we'll do that. Yeah, for sure. We got to do that too. Coding mountain man serialization. Yes. Oh yeah, we read that one. Overhead tips, not much. Just working on a GitHub terminal application in OCAML. How has the DSA grind been? Yeah, it's been good. We've gotten up to chapter 8 so far. Chapter 8 is a little bit of a longer one on trees. We just learned about binary trees yesterday. Um, just taking a little bit of a break today from the reading. I wanted to really kind of practice actual code and work on our project. But we learned about binary trees and we stopped right here yesterday. So we're on page 315. We're making some good progress little by little, day by day. So it's been fun. Serialization is the converting the data into a string slash text form so it can be stored in the JSON file. Deserialization is the opposite. Oh, okay. Okay, interest. Okay, gotcha. So let me bring back this guy. Don't come back. No. Why? Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. There we go. Cool. Okay, so let me exit. Yes. Okay, so now what happens? So we will this run if it's not within our main though? That's the thing. I mean, we could say, I mean, we can always test it. We could say none, just call it here and overwrite it initially in main, but so I think what is that note list you're using? What note list in your terminal did you make that? Oh yeah, this is just the menus that I made for this program. That's this program. That's the program that we're writing. Um, okay, so what do we want to do here? What do we want to do here? We want to when we ran, I don't think we want to. Let's do this. Let's take this. Let's set this equal to none. Let's take this function. Let's take it down, and then in the main menu, if if the user then presses the expenses menu, well, at that point, would we want to? No, let's just keep it at the beginning, I guess. So I'm going to, let's just go back. Leave that there. Okay. So now that we are going to take the all expenses, it's going to be converted right off the bat. But this is going to be empty at first. So when we load the file initially, we need to take the expenses from the JSON file and bring them in. Let me go like this actually. So let's just keep, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's just work on um, writing JSON getting all my homies hate CSV. Yeah, that's what I've been using so far. So I think it was about time we got into JSON here and tried to get familiar with it. So when we, I'm losing my train of thought here, guys. It's been a long week. So we need to, when we load in the file, we will need to get access to all the expenses that are currently in the JSON. So we need to, if case is 1, we need to do this. We need to here is load JSON file, right? Expenses. So when we load the JSON file with the expenses, what we're going to say is global all items and all expenses. We'll say all expenses here, whoops, is equal to load expenses, right? And maybe we can try to re-optimize this to house this as well, but we'll just see here. So load file, so my load file I mean, we could throw it in here. Why not? I don't think there's anything that prevents us from doing it. We can close that and then close this so it gets cleaner here. Okay, let's try this. Let's use our load file. A load file function for type is going to be equal to quote expenses .json. So I'm going to try to re-optimize this one to load the entire file based on that string. So in my load file, we'll come down here and we'll say this. Try to do the following. With open fstring, we're going to open the type here, which is going to be expenses.csv, and mode as equals R, right? We need to quote R. And then we don't need to do anything with new line. I mean, what does this new line really do? I don't really know. It was just suggested. New line equals extreme. So open up the file and go to the last line. I'm not sure. Anybody know what this really does? And if we need it here? Okay. So that as expense file, right? And so then what we're going to do to this, we've opened the file as read, and we've read it, and we've saved the information, no, the file itself. We've saved the file itself, right? The path, location, everything as this. So we need to then say that the loaded expenses is equal to JSON dot, what did I say? Load expense file, right? So we're going to load the expense file using the JSON load, and then that loads it and converts it back into an object that it originally was, which is a dictionary. And so then we can expenses.json. So loaded expenses. So this is the dictionary object that now houses all of our previously made expenses. So we are going to that gets right. The loaded items is what gets returned at the end of this function. Down here, return the loaded items. So we'll save all expenses. We return loaded items. Loaded items is equal to, I mean, if we could just return loaded expenses right now. like that. And that would just completely avoid that. So except if we get a file not found error, right? We want to create the JSON file. So how did I handle that here? I with opened a file as file, and I wrote, opened the writer, and I wrote the headers onto it. But we don't need to write any headers because these are housed within the how did, oh, you guys can't read this. Hold on, let me bring this up. Sorry, guys. Here. How did you label each dict row as object 1, etc.? In the example object 1 and 2, we simply playing placeholders represent how you might label or organize individual objects in the dictionary. These keys could be anything meaningful to applications. Oh, so this is a dict of dicts. Interesting. So now we're handling a dictionary of dictionaries. Oh, so it's now a dict of dicts. That's what she said. Interesting. Okay, so I think, John, I think the writer does it too, because in this line of code I wrote here, this automatically generates the file if it's not found either. This works too. Right. Well, the difference between, what is the diff between mode equals writer and writer plus? The difference between that with opening a file lies in read-write permissions. When opening the file for writing only, the file is truncated empties if it exists. In mode W, when opens the file for writing only, file is truncated if it exists. Which writes create a new file if it doesn't exist. You cannot read from the file, attempting to read it. W plus opens for both reading and writing. And then creates a new file if it doesn't exist. File.read. Yeah, okay, yeah, cool. I think we've got it right. We're on the same page here, John. Yeah, so the writer plus will allow you to read to that file that you currently wrote on as well, right? You can seek through it. Interesting. Okay, so what is happening here though with our example? Yeah, write clears the file. So you would want to open not in writer plus, right? You wouldn't want to open in a writer plus option because that would essentially open the file, clear it out, allow you to write to the file, and then read that information back within the current iteration of the program. The read mode would allow you to read maybe there's a read plus, which then you can write as well onto the red data. I'm not sure, but you can just load something back into it or append it, right? Okay, so except that the file doesn't exist, we're going to say with open f string type here and say mode is right. Mode is equal to write. And then we say as expense file. And then we will Hey Neil, welcome in. How's it going? What's going on with you? What's new? What you working on lately? What's been going on? Hope you're well. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so we open the file. And then do we want to write anything to it at this point in time? No, we just want to create one. So we'll just pass, I think, right? Don't we just want to pass here? Yeah. I mean, we could generate some like statement saying like file not found, creating file, right? Um, but I'm using clear terminal functions in my program, so it's just gonna wipe things out if I don't get if I hit these exceptions. So I don't think it's really that useful. I mean, it's useful for debugging for sure, but yeah. Okay, so we'll pass there. Okay, so that was way easier than using CSV and writing all these headers. Like, look at this. That was way easier. Look at that. Maybe we need to convert the CSV into JSON. Now that is a task for a different day, but wow. That was crazy. That was a lot of code there that just got replaced. So we load the file, we return the load expense the round. If we don't have the file, we open it up initially and we pass. What happens here? We load it and then we return just in general an empty dictionary. If it's items, write these rows and return an empty dictionary. Okay, so this needs to return an empty dictionary. We need to, right? Because the dictionary is being returned as the value. Yeah, if it were me, I'd do everything with JSON. Yeah, that seems like the play here, John. I appreciate you being here and helping me out with this. Okay, right. So we're going to return just an empty dictionary. We could just return loaded items. Right, which is just an empty dictionary up here, which we could well, okay, so we'll refactor this down later to not use CSV, I guess. Okay, so then now we have the opening or the reading of the expenses with the load items. I guess this is kind of arbitrary, doesn't really matter. right? We're not going to use it in this case. Expense file. So we're not writing anything to this at this point because it's empty. Right? This is the first time we've seen this. Or it's not a file. Okay. So now what we're going to do is back up at the top here. How do these all keep getting open? So how is this now? What we're doing is we load the JSON file that returns the dictionary as from the all expenses, right? And assigns it here. And then we go into main menu. All right, I think we're ready to test this out. Ready? For those that are here, it's a Friday night. It's so I appreciate those on a Friday night, coming in and being willing to study with me here. You're probably a lot of other people are out, and maybe having a party or something, but we're here studying Python and bettering ourselves, and it's so you deserve a pat on the back, round of applause. Um, yeah, so well, I appreciate you guys joining me here. Yeah, John. So the reason why I was using CSV for the actual handling of items, now that I actually think about it, I wanted the user to have the option to be able to take the CSV information and load it into Excel. Like they'll or Google Sheets or whatever. They'll have that option and then be able to do whatever they want with it from there too. So maybe we can create a function to generate a CSV from a JSON file, but I do like actually, now that I come to think of it, have that option to allow the user to transport their CSV file into Excel. What do you think about that? Adele says, yep. Yep, to ready to try it out? Yeah, okay, hopefully. Okay, so we should see, right, if I delete this, we should see an expenses JSON file be generated upon creation. If I press yes here, .csv, no! What happened? What happened? Load file. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we need to say oh, what's going on here? Hold up. Let me take this guy. Let's tab this in. Right. I'm gonna go here, enter. I'm gonna say match type case quote items. Do this. And then here we'll say, we'll close this up. See, this CSV file is just really long. And we'll say here, we'll tab this in. Oop. Case quote expense.json. Alright, try that. Okay, so now let's get rid of this guy. So we caught this. Right. So just a placeholder there. Never mind, I don't like that. But that's fine. Okay, so now let's delete this. And let's try this again. Boom. Expected in doc block after line 460. Okay. Alright, cool. With open, except file not found. Alright, now we'll try it. There we go. Okay, now we should see it here. Ready? Ready? Come on. Okay. So that generated the file. Now, what do we need to do? That's the next question. Now, we need to, right, it's been generated. So if there are, now we need to make an expense and then have it save. Okay, so that's the real question here. So after an expense is made, all expenses, it's appended to this. So then we need to save the file, right? After we add an expense, I think it's appropriate to save at that instance rather than saving once at the very end, just in case we corrupt at some point. We don't want to lose all of our work, so we want to save right after we add the expense. So at this point, we now have the expense loaded into our our function, and the add expense is technically not over. We need to now write the JSON file with, so we need to convert the current, so save / override current JSON file for all expenses, right? So now what we'll do is say with open so what does so we have our save file. If the type is not in, we'll add in here. What does it return? It doesn't return anything. It just does it, right? Okay, good. So we'll just add in a expenses.json type here as well. We'll say match type here. We'll take this copy it here, tab it in twice. Come here, case of quote items, do the following. Okay. Then where is our, let's close this. Here, case, quote, get out of here. Expenses JSON, right? We're going to with open our file type that we have here, right? In mode equals writer, yes, right? Like so, as whatever. I don't think it really matters. Oh no, yeah, it does. As expense JSON file, right? Expenses file. So this opens the JSON file. We need to dump all of the current data from all items. So we'll have to do expenses file dot no. So to so in my load file, did I use the load function? Yeah, I did. Okay, good. So then my save file, I need to use the data, where's writer mode? JSON dump data on file. Okay, yeah, that's how you do it. Okay. So we do now what's the difference between dump and dumps? Is where JSON data is stored in their intended use case. JSON dump writes JSON directly to the file like object. The JSON coded data is written in the file or stream use case when you want to save JSON data to a file. Dumps converts a Python object to a JSON string, returns the JSON encoded data as a string. Can make a function save to JSON. Yeah, that's what we're doing right here. Save file to the expenses JSON. Exactly. Exactly, John. Maybe with params like file name, data dict, so you can reuse for different things. Oh, yeah, I got you. Like, I'm officially starting my own learning journey. I'm going to be learning chemistry. Oh, awesome. I'm starting by relearning the basics and then want to get to AP Chem and then go Orgo and Biochem. Starting off with Khan's Khan Academy's high school chem course and moving down to AP Chem. Awesome, dude. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot them here. I am a chemist. I can help you out. Hopefully, I can remember some stuff from my chemistry, AP Chem, and college chem and stuff, general chem and organic chem. So it's been a couple of years, but I could definitely probably help you out. So we want to dump the all expenses dictionary onto the expenses file, right? Close the case of items match. So that just will dump all the items, all expenses. This will just override and write the file. You don't have to be in writer plus to dump data after open. Oh, okay, cool. So now we have that added. If we go to add expense here, so to actually do this, we'll say save file type equals expenses dot JSON. So this will just save that current file. Yeah, like we do here. And so then we need to, that's it. And then we'll return back to our expenses menu right here. We'll come back right here to this while loop. Okay, let's try it out here. Ready, guys? Let's try it out. Okay, we're gonna make an expense here. Oh boy. All right. Yes. Oh. Didn't even get into the program. Oh my gosh. What happened here? Return default. What's going on here? I don't really know what's going on here. The error you're encountering typically occurs when you load a JSON file, but the file is empty or contains invalid. Okay, so we need to handle if the file is empty then. When it loads, okay. So my load file with open, okay, try that except if we catch a, what is the error? JSON decode error. Now, how can I catch this? How can I catch this error? JSON.json.code error. Okay. Right. Oh yeah, because it's in the module, right? We're going to pass, right? We don't really, if we get this error meaning it's empty, Oh, this is on the save file. Okay, so this actually wouldn't be where we want to put it. We'd want to put it in our load. Except file not found. Except JSON dot JSON decoder error pass, right? It's open. We've opened the file, except if it's open and nothing's there, right? File is empty. Like so, right? So let's clear. Let's go yes. Okay, we got in now. We got in. Oh, fireworks. Okay, we got in. So if we go to expenses, add expense. Here we go. Here we go. We are live. Here we go. Use today's date. Yes. Amount. If I say -1, it doesn't take it. If I say ABC, it doesn't take it. I've got to give amount 10. Oh, no. So we're saying it didn't like in our date creation. Argument 1 must be sure not date time dot date. Let's go look at that. So in the set date created here, what was our error? I thought I chose to use today's date. Oh, this is in our expense class. So we get a date. So in our class here, how do I handle it here? Date created. Try to convert the date into this format. Okay, I get it. Need a stir right here. It's gonna take some stir for this argument. So now if we run yes, expenses, add expense, use today's date, yes, expense amount 10. Boom, okay, we got that bug solved. So description would be, let's say this was business lunch. Category, whatever, food. Okay, expense has no attribute add. Okay, that's my bad. It's not expense.add. it's expense dot categories dot add, right? Like so. Okay, now if we run, yes, expenses, add expense, guess, use today's date, $10, lunch, food, method, credit card, note, company, lunch, right? Oh no. None object has no attribute keys. So it has no attribute keys, the none type. So all expenses here go away here. But if we were to, where's this getting called from in our that item number? So in my add item, am I calling global on that variable? Where's my add item? Here it is for an add item. All items here. Main menu, inventory menu here. No, I'm not. So why does my expenses have a none type? So then it's being loaded in as a none. So in my load file, okay, rather than passing, we need to return a dictionary if it's blank, right? Come on, where are you at? We need to refactor these. Yeah. So except if it's blank, we don't want to pass. We want to return the loaded items again. Cool. So now if we run, yes. Okay, this should work, I think. So let's watch this happen live. If we did this correct, we should see this populate after adding in an item. So let's try it. Or an expense. So 3, add expense, yes, expense amount, 10, description, lunch, category, food, method, credit card, option, note, company, lunch, right? Oh, what happened there? What is this? What is this? No! So null 1. What is null 1? Is that the information? Is that what it looks like? There's no way that houses all of our information at the expense. No way, right? What? What is this, John? What is this? Is a valid JSON, but it might not represent what you intended. Keys and So this is not writing correctly. Okay, so it's probably in our addition, so we gather the expense note. We then set the expense number with this generation. We then go all expenses for the keys would be number. Because when we add an item, we take all items and then we need to equal it to the actual new expense, right? Like so. Okay, cool. So that might have fixed that. So let's get rid of this. All right, let's try it here. So at least we have the writing working. Okay, let's see here. One, expenses, add expense, yes. Expense amount 10. Lunch, food, method, credit, card, optional. We'll say company lunch, right? Not Sarah's. Object of expense is not JSON serializable. My dictionary is not serializable. Serializable. If your dictionary is not serializable, it means they cannot. You can say types or objects that cannot be directly converted to JSON using the JSON dumps. Custom Python instances make custom objects serializable. Oh, so we need to define a toDict. But I have a get details here. So I have a get details function. I have to get details of the object first. Like that. Right? Yes. Expenses. Add expense. Yes. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Not serializable. Are you sure the dict key is a string? No, the dict key is a integer right now. So we need to convert the dict key to a so get details will put it into a dict. Right. But the item number is an integer. So I need to go stir item new expense number, like so. But then when I load it, I need to make sure I reconvert it back. So rather than adding the expense here in the save file function, JSON keys have to be strings. Okay. So in the save file function, we just dump all the data. So what's interesting is that I'm using the item number key to create the next item number by incrementing the next value. Now what I could technically do is rather than doing that, I could access the last key in the dictionary, convert that 1 to an integer, increase by 1, and return that value to get the next one rather than converting every single one. Yeah, John, so what do you think? Should I create a new dict, like a copy dictionary with stir around all the key values? Or should I just leave it as is, or I should convert the whole dictionary to string and then do a single int conversion across the last key in the dictionary, which will be the last item number? What do you think is more efficient? Probably the second method because you'd only be doing that one conversion rather than converting every integer item number to a string every single time. What do you guys think? Okay. While you're wait for that. Okay, so what we can do in the meantime then I guess is let's just say not load file. Okay, so in the meantime we can just say let's just call stir on this item number and see if that'll work. Yes. Expenses, add expense, yes. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Not serializable. Let me do this. What happens if I call print new expense dot get details? Main menu, expense, add expense. Did I get the print? I did. Amount 100. Right, because it got converted to sentence. Date equals datetime object. Description 1, category 1. So it's doing the dictionary conversion successfully. My number is not being converted to a string though. Because I'm getting details of the new expense. I think the dict that gets written needs to contain only basic type nouns. I have it, it's being converted to a dictionary here, right? Let's take this. The error message, type error, object size, not serializable, converts date to a string. Oh, it doesn't like our date time object? Converts the date time to a string. Okay, hold up. So what we're in the set date created, we are returning date.today, date here, here. In the expense class, converting the date to a stir. This one I say if, go ahead, else make it today. You say yes. If day, so that date. So this is converting the date given in a string to a datetime object if given when provided. So stir that. Yes. 3. Oh, let's go. That worked. Yes. Okay. So what I was doing here, if date created, because I'm converting these into CS with the CSV. That's why. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, John. Thank you for being here. If you guys are here with me on Friday night, I know it's Friday night, so it's kind of a more of a quiet stream today. But I really appreciate those who are here that are stuck with me on tonight and been studying with me. Every day we're getting practice, even if it's Friday night. So looking back, we can't say, oh, we didn't try. At least we didn't put in all the effort we could have. Every day we do a little something. So even if it's Friday. Okay, so the thing is do I want to convert the expense? See, because I'm receiving the date time, the date today that's given, right? And then I'm also doing this again just via this class operation. So I almost don't even need this set date created function here. I just need it to use the menu basically. Right? Return none. This should be, if the user puts 1 for yes, we should return none so that the class will create the date time today. Oops. Right? Else, if they say 2, we're going to ask for a date. We try to do that. So this is giving me a datetime object back, returning it into the create item. That's here. And I'm setting date created here and saving. So why do these get saved as simple dates? Setting it here using datetime update. So we'll just use the model from the previous class then. So if date, then set that to it, right? And accept, else set it to today. Datetime.date.today. Datetime.date.today. I think this is the right format. So date today, self.date. Yeah. So now we don't even need to do that. If we go here, our expense class is going to just save the date given as a regular string or as a date if it's provided. And so in our main function, our main program here, when we add it, we're going to get the date from the set date created function, which will ask yes or no. If they press yes, it's going to return datetime.dateToday to our expense class for this date. So we should return, by ways of the class rather, return none. The class will set current date if received none, right? And then, right, so then while true, it'll enter custom date. Make sure that date is in the correct format, and return that valid date. Just the date portion of it. Okay, let's try this. Let me take my items out of here. We have a lot of dummy items we don't need. And then let's try run this. Okay, yes. Let's first add an item. Make sure that still works. Test 10, medium. So use today's date. If I say yes, this will return a value of none and set it to today automatically. Quantity 1. Okay, perfect. Right, 110 in a string. Now if we go main menu, expenses, add expense, right, here we go. Let's see if it'll keep this expense in there from before, like our loading, right? This will be another test here to see if it loaded. Yes. Use today's date. Expense amount 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Not iterable. Or not. So we're still getting that now. So what's different between these two is why in my expense class, if the date given, set it there. Else, right? If there's no date, hey, LS Dominguez, welcome in. We're setting it to today. It's datetime.date.today. Datetime.date.today. I'm importing datetime, importing datetime. Okay, then in my setting date created here, datetime.datetime.strip-time.date. I pressed 1 though. Return none. Is datetime.date.today a str? No, it's not a string. It returns a datetime object. It's a class still. Okay, so what we need to do is in our save here for returning none, stir like so. And then in here, our class, we're going to stir this guy here. And then stir this guy. So now if we run, let's go ahead and delete our expenses and delete our items and run. Okay. Let's add in an item. Yes. Inventory, add item, test. 10, medium, yes, 1. Cool, that saved that, perfect. So this is actually a string now, not a class object. Now if I go, so we do need to edit that clear terminal there. So if I go main menu, expenses, add expense, use today's date, yes, amount, 1. Perfect. That's saved. Nice. Let's go, guys. Okay, cool. So that saved that there. So now let's make sure that this is being read appropriately and overrode. So if I go back to my main program here, go yes, expenses, add expense, yes, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. Oh, there it is. Ah, cool. So it just keeps adding. So if I wrap here, it'll just keep wrapping. Awesome. Oh, nice. Woo! So now it's successfully, reading everything, pulling it in, and then saving, and then making sure and keep retaining our data. So then if I run the program, I can still add an additional item, inventory, add item, test 2, medium, cost, sorry, 10, medium, yes, 1. There, it got loaded in. Now if I go main menu, expenses, find edit expense or add expense. Let's do a custom date of 2024-10-31. Expense amount 3333 and 3. Oh, nice. All right, you guys. This has been really, really fun. We streamed for 2 hours and 22 minutes today. It's a little bit more of a quieter, chill stream. We kind of dimmed the lights and just worked on our project here. So people might not have been as interested in this one today just because we were doing live projects. If you're interested in watching these live projects, then thanks for being here. Appreciate you. People seem to be interested in mainly like the DSA learning and reading and practice problems and stuff. So, but we will continue those. Those are still we do need to practice our coding though, and we put in a good 2 hours of debugging practice. Live problem solving in actual project context. So this was a really good study session and really successful. So we added in all of these. We got familiar with JSON loading and dumping, reading JSON file with open, using dynamic refactoring of our current saving and loading functions. So really, really cool. Now we have, we'll then, come back and be able to access each of these elements and edit individual parameters. And then we can start, once we have that functionality, we can intertwine the items and expenses, or the sold item rather, and the expenses, and intertwine those two data points to create a revenue, right? Or the sales versus revenue cost, and so we can create reports for generating costs of goods and revenues and all that kind of fun stuff, which is really cool. So this is a really neat program we've got going on so far. I really, really like JSON. It's really kind of intuitive. CSV is fun. I like the CSV because we can use Excel with it as well, but JSON is really cool for like compact, easy access data storage. So really cool that we got some familiarity with this. But tomorrow, you guys, we're going to be looking and watching the CS50 lecture for week 2. We completed week 1 this week, and so we completed week 0 and week 1 this week. So tomorrow we'll hopefully next week complete week 2 and 3, and keep pushing forward. It's been really fun so far. So we will watch the lecture tomorrow live and do notes and live reactions and everything. So join tomorrow. I'll be posting in my Discord link below announcement for that stream, and my Discord link below is a conglomeration of all my study resources. So if you want to chat with me offline or interact or get access or share your code, share your projects, then join the Discord. We like having you there. Thanks so much for supporting me, guys. We are coming up on 850 subs on the channel. A lot of support you guys have been showing me day in and day out. Keep liking the content. I need to keep posting some more Python crash course videos for the solutions to the try it yourselves, and then we need to keep going on CS50X and DSA and Python. So thank you so much for joining me, you guys, today. Today was January 10th. It's just about 10 p.m. on PST. We streamed for 2 hours and 25 minutes today. A good practice session. I will see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, see you guys.